you're doing to me. Can't you see it would take just a lot to pry open your words?
Hello everyone! Welcome in! It's been a while. It's been a long while since I filmed a video. But today I thought I would do a special video about one of my favorite shows of all time, and one that is almost every YouTuber's big inspiration as to being a YouTuber, or to doing lists, or to making fun of movies. Almost every YouTube reviewers. And it's Mystery Science Theater 3000. Yeah. I am actually going to be listing my top 10 favorite Mystery Science Theater 3000 videos. Because, well, being a huge fan of the show, I might as well, right? So, let's stop talking and let's get to this shit. Top 10 favorite Mystery Science Theater 3000 episodes. Let's go.
I love to go swimming with bow-legged women and swim between their legs. Swim between their legs. Everybody swim between their legs.
Number 10, Night of the Blood Beast. This one is definitely more of a Thanksgiving tradition I have to watch every year. I remember when it aired and it was being filmed to basically being shown on Thanksgiving. There's actually two versions of this one. Which one do I watch? I watch both of them. The jokes are solid in this, and I do like the early special that they watch at the beginning of the actual episode air date. The basic wife and family couple, yada 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 yada. It's really dumb and stupid, and this movie is by no exception dumb and stupid on top of that. It's one of the dumbest movies out there, and yet they try to take it super seriously. And this is what I like with these classic films, of trying to take everything super seriously and it just failing and bombing horribly. Yet the riffing in here is just excellent. The jokes are top tier. I don't know. I always get a warm feeling when watching Night of the Blood Beast every Thanksgiving. Like every Thanksgiving, when we're home and we're cooking dinner and getting ready for Thanksgiving, I have this on in the background, because when I was living with my grandparents at the time when I was a kid and this originally aired, my grandfather had this on in the background while they were cooking dinner, and we would just be watching this and etc. Because it would air on Comedy Central almost for 3 or 4 years in a row. And I have the tape transferred onto VHS of the exact airing of the day it aired, so I got the original commercials with it. This is a definite have to watch over and over. The riffs are timeless, the characters are fun and enjoyable, you gotta love it, it's just that freaking good. Let's go on to number 9.
Come on, you gotta sign my time card.
Of course I'll sign your time card, young man. In fact, I think you're going to be working for me for a long, long time. Push the button, Frank.
Number 9 is Mitchell. Now, Mitchell. What can you say about it but Mitchell? Seriously, I think a lot of people love this one, and this is Joel's Swan Song episode. And by the way, I'm going to spoil some things. There's probably going to be more Mike episodes on this top 10 list than Joel episodes. Not that I dislike Joel in any way. In fact, I like Joel a lot. I even have a signed patch from the actor, or from Joel Hodgson himself, of a Gizmo Tech patch with his signature on it. So I do like Joel a lot. But I feel that Mike's more relatable and has some of the funnier lines. Anyway, Mitchell. Joel's final swan song episode. What is so great about this? The fat jokes in this are amazing. And just the fact that they constantly, when they're doing the theme or trying to take the movie seriously, you have to hear Crow or Tom Servo going, Mitchell! Mitchell! This is one of their most infamous episodes. In fact, when Riff Tracks has reunions and Joel's part of the Riff Track team having the reunions, you constantly hear him saying, when he's hosting something, being like, pass the corn and the potatoes and Mitchell and gravy. I don't know. I really love this one. It's kind of amazing. I feel like this is definitely one of the greatest episodes ever filmed. In fact, my best friend was over just the other day before I rewatched the whole series, and we watched this one together, and now our running joke is when we see each other is Mitchell, Mitchell, every time. I mean, I even posted on his Facebook wall just Mitchell randomly, and the dude's a teacher. His students are probably like, dude, what the hell? But I digress. It's an amazing, incredible episode, and pretty much all the episodes on this list are top tier to me. So I don't have any faults with these because there's just so many Mystery Science Theater 3000 episodes. You can make a top 50 list out of it. But yeah, Mitchell is definitely one of the most memorable ones, and one of the first ones I remember, and me recalling how odd it was that they changed out hosts. But yeah, I love this one. So many fat jokes, and probably one of my favorite riffs is when Mitchell's running and you hear one of them go, oh god, oh god. It's just incredible. I love this one. Let's go on to number 8.
You're on the air.
Oh my gosh, I overslept. I'm gonna miss the bus.
Oops.
The Gamera films. Which one? All 3 Gamera films. The first one is being interesting and fun and enjoyable. I love all 3 of them. They're all goofy. Gamera looks terrible. I mean, I know he's this classic Japanese monster that everyone seems to like, kind of like Rodan and stuff and Godzilla. But man, he is definitely off-brand Godzilla. And you can just tell the effects look worse than some of the 70s Godzilla films. And I just love it. I love how cheesy these movies are. And they really try. They really try to make these movies just so cheesy. I enjoy it personally. I really love this one, and the riffs here are great. Sometimes the riffs can go to borderline stereotypicalness, and that might be sickening into what I really do like, but I can't help it. This one is just, I don't know. I can't explain it any better than this. I just love the riffs. All 3 of the movies all each have something special in it, but they all 3 have one thing in common. They're awful. Particularly my favorite ones when they air these is when they air them on Thanksgiving specials like Turkey Day, which isn't going to be the only Turkey Day special on this list. But man, the Gamera films are classic when it comes to the riffs on here. And this is when the cast really decided to find their footing with their riffs. I enjoy the riffs and everything going on. I love this one. They are fresh. Some of the jokes are a little dated nowadays, but what do you expect? This was early 90s riffing. But man, I love putting these on. I always prop my feet up and just kick back and watch all 3 of these when I can. Especially in November. I mean, it's got Turkey Day in one of the titles here. It is the Gamera trilogy, and that's what makes it fun.
Large sausage and mushroom thin crust.
Manos the Hands of Fate is considered to be one of the most overrated Mystery Science Theater 3000 episodes, but in defense of it being overrated, isn't it kind of overrated when it deserves to be overrated? I mean, yeah, it is. There are just so much memorable funness, and the movie itself is like a giant acid trip with so many bad scenes and scenes that doesn't make any sense, and the music in the movie is just god awful. The cast riffing on it is great though. I love that. It's just, oh my god. My favorite scenes happen to be the Torgo scenes. I think that's his name. It's just, oh lord. It's a movie that they had to be on LSD or cocaine or crack or something to make this one. and it's just classic. I love the hand battle that goes on later. It's a really stupid film, and the jokes basically just write themselves in this one, because this movie is just totally easy to insult and make fun of and just basically pick apart and destroy. That's how bad this one is. It's just fucking terrible. Pardon my French, but this movie is fucking terrible. And I know it's low on my list, but I will go back to the statement of the movie, the riff track version of this, the whole episode is overrated, but it does deserve the love that it gets. But it's not worthy of being in the top 5 or number 1 or whatever, where so many MST3K fans place it as their favorite. I remember when this movie came out, and they actually had this on its own separate DVD by itself when the box sets were coming out. In fact, this came out on DVD, I think, before the DVD releases episodes were getting on DVD, just because it was such a big deal on this one. And yeah, I can see where some people think, yeah, it's too overrated. But man, is it fun. Like I said, I had the TV version of all the episodes that I'm talking about, so getting the commercials kind of wrapped in there too, kind of go along with it. My favorite part of the whole thing is the ending, where Mike Nelson is dressed as Torgo to deliver the pizza, and they're like, the pizza's still warm after 2 hours. Then they spit the pizza out, TV's Frank and Dr. Forrester, and it's just hilarious. I mean, this kind of caught Mike's physical acting as a comedian really well. I don't know. I'm going in circles. I'll move on to the next one. Godzilla vs. the Sea Monster. You know what? I am a Godzilla fan sucker, and I'm not gonna lie, I know there was only 2 Godzilla movies on this list, basically, and it's kind of unfair to rank them separately, but I'm gonna go ahead and do that here. So, spoiler everybody, the other Godzilla film is on this list, but let's talk about the Sea Monster. This one is super memorable to me. Anyway, I don't know. I just like a lot of the fact that the cast themselves said Godzilla is barely even in this movie. He's only in like maybe 15 minutes of the entire film, and they focus too much on the human characters. The silliness, the giant crab where they're shooting a baseball at each other is hilarious. And the jokes, of course, like I say, are always top tier jokes. I enjoy this one quite a bit. There's some really stupid scenes throughout this movie, and me being an OG Godzilla fan, I just love the fact that they finally got to riff one of these 70s Godzilla movies. And then the stereotype jokes that they go for, or the racially insensitive jokes, I guess, that they do are pretty damn hilarious. Now, it's not their best Godzilla film, spoilers, but it is a fun Godzilla film. And the fact that they comment on it, and then they, of course, have that awesome How Godzilla Was Formed song, which I really, really love that. I think it's catchy as hell. During the commercial breaks, or before the commercial breaks, or whatever. Like, well, first we had this, and this, and this, and this. It's music that writes itself. The jokes in here are amazing, and you just can't get enough of it. It's just a fun, enjoyable freaking film, and the episode itself is just going way overboard, having too much fun. I mean, this is one of the Godzilla films, probably one of the worst. I wish they would have done Godzilla's Revenge, but unfortunately they never do. Maybe someday Rift Tracks will come out with that one, but this is one of the worst Godzilla films ever made, and it's definitely not worth watching, but me as a kid, I watched it anyway, and of course MST3K is able to hit the jokes on this one perfectly. So let's move on. Today's video is brought to you by Bad Boy Hot Sauce. You ever want something so good, something that brings a little more spice to your life than, say, regular, generic, shitty hot sauce? something that actually tastes really good and goes good on your food and you can put that shit on anything, then I highly recommend the Bad Boy hot sauce. It comes in 3 separate flavors and each has its own unique flavoring that is beyond delicious. There's the delicious mango, which goes on anything. It can go on almost any kind of flavored food and give it a sweet, delicious blend taste. Then there's my personal favorite, the red pepper punch, which definitely has a good punch that'll make your taste buds sing and dance. And of course, for the extreme of flavors of spice and heat, there's Cobra Venom, which all go good on any type of food you want. I put red pepper hot sauce in my ramen. That stuff is incredible. I highly recommend anyone to try these hot sauces out. You could get them at Sean Kanan's store, thewayofthecobra.com. Delicious stuff. I highly recommend trying it out. Go, click on it, get some of this hot sauce, and finally put some spice back into your life. These flames are almost as hot as the flames that burnt down Mike Barnes' store. Go for it, try it out, check it out. Mr. Tim sent you. Go.
For a change of pace, Nellstone, I'm going to send you a movie. It's called I Was a Teenage Werewolf. Now, there's food in the synthesizer and no friends on the satellite.
I Was a Teenage Werewolf has so much fun in it. In fact, this was one of the very first horror movies as a child that I used to watch. I had it on this old VHS tape set that was hosted by Vincent Price, of all people. He also talked about Night of the Living Dead. But I'm going in circles here. I have very early memories of this one. In fact, this was the very first MST3K episode I remember watching it with my grandfather and my brother. Because, the three of us, that was our show. Every Saturday, because I would spend Friday nights there as a kid, every Saturday the show would air, my grandfather would press record on his VHS, and we would all just sit and watch it together. And I honestly love that about that. This is probably why MST3K and I have so many memories, because my grandfather and my brother and we would just sit there. It would be our family thing. I was about maybe 7 or 6 years old watching the show with them, and I didn't get all the jokes as a kid. So this one, I have a special place in my heart for it. The Michael Landon jokes are freaking hilarious, but I think my favorite joke just goes on with how bad that the acting is in the show, where it's like, well, I'm so angry, and then they make a joke throughout the movie. I hurled milk at it. I hurled dairy products of some kind at it. And because in the movie, the Michael Landon is being, questioned by the officer and said, "You got so angry at the clerk that you threw milk at her." And they just basically spend the entirety of the film saying, "Oh, let's chuck milk at him." Or they make bad dog jokes. And of course, my personal favorite, Michael Landon jokes. We're gonna get through Michael Landon. And then they, of course, talk about the bedwetting that he went through. And they go into some deep jabs about Michael Landon's past, which is just brutal. But I like the other pop cultural jokes, the Highway to Heaven, the freaking Little House on the Prairie, and of course Bonanza jokes that they do throughout this episode. I've got a soft spot for this one. It's a nothing episode, I know, but I don't know. It was one of the very first ones that I viewed as a child, and I have so many memories of it, watching it with my grandfather. In fact, we watched it a lot, because, he would tape all these episodes, and we would do a rewatch when nothing was on, or if the movie wasn't very good on Saturdays. So we would just rewatch it, and that would be about it.
Me, your host with the most, your king of fromage, the pilgrim of thanks, Adam West. And in Zombie Nightmare, my role called for a hard, cold, desperate Adam West.
Zombie Nightmare is one of the more interesting of the films. And yeah, I'm going to say one of the weirder ones. Now, this is another Thanksgiving classic, and I have to watch the taped version of it because Adam West did a 24-hour hosting that year of Mystery Science Theater 3000. In fact, of Comedy Central Thanksgiving special in general. and he basically was on the air for 24 hours hosting it. But the reason why he was hosting it was because he was in this episode of Zombie Nightmare, and the irony is he's barely in the film at all. He's maybe in 30 minutes of the entire film. And his hosting is kind of hilarious that he's there because he's barely in the movie. And the Batman jokes in this one are just great, but I think the overacting in this movie is just hilarious. Like, there's a voodoo lady who talks just over the top with an accent, a forced accent, by the way, where she's like, la, la, and of course, you know, the entire MST3K team has to give their take. You put the lime and the coconut and mix them both together. The movie is insane. It's pure insanity, and it's always one of my favorite movies to watch on Thanksgiving. I have to watch this one at least Thanksgiving Day along with The Blood Beast because it's just classic. And you have to have those hosting segments of Adam West during the commercial breaks because it just tops it off to perfection when you're watching this baby. It's hilarious. The movie itself is complete garbage, but it's fun. Some of the overacting, like there is a cop in the movie doing a voice that's like, you gotta be able to. He sounds like Garfield. Like Garfield on antidepressants. So he talks even slower than Garfield through the movie. Adam West's character is over the top, but also very reserved. And it's always open-ended to Batman bashing while the cast is going on. So, God, I love this one. Anyhow, let's skip to the next one.
Shut up!
Godzilla vs. Megalon. I told you this would not be the last Godzilla one, and I know. At number 3, Godzilla vs. Megalon? Are you kidding? Well, no, I'm not kidding. This one is just very freaking memorable. And yeah, there is just so many things in this one that is just so stupid. I mean, first things first, there is more Godzilla in this one, so that's always a win. They're always talking about the freaking production and the rubber suits and everything. I love that. But what makes it so much fun is the jokes about Jet Jaguar and the basic Ultraman ripoff that he is. Now, I do know the history that Jet Jaguar was designed by a child who won a contest, who got to throw the character in a Godzilla movie, which he basically wasn't supposed to be in a Godzilla movie. He was supposed to be in a movie of his own, but they threw Godzilla in there to get more production value and to get more ratings. And what they got out of this one is just freaking hilarious. And it gives the MST3K team so much to work with. The jokes do write themselves in this one. The monster with a drill hand, the basic that the cockroach characters look like Klansmen. They don't even look Japanese. It's just one of the dumbest things. But I think some of the jokes that are hilarious is Godzilla doing the freaking flip kick where he raises his ass to the air and he's able to just kick the shit out of the monster. And they play it twice because they think it's just so awesome. But my favorite has to be the Jet Jaguar song. And the fact that Joel has to stand up in the middle of the theater and be like, I grew! I am 3 sizes bigger like Jet Jaguar! No, I'm not! No, I am! I always laugh my ass off at this one. Like I said, I wish they had done more Godzilla movies because there are so many that they could have done. Godzilla's Revenge, and they could have done the original Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla where the aliens turn into freaking space monkeys. This is only the pinnacle of ridiculousness when it comes to Godzilla films. But I'm glad that they did this one because this one is one of the worst ones out there. It's not as bad as Godzilla's Revenge, but it's pretty damn bad. And I've got to say, The team handled this one with so much class and etiquette, and I'm saying that sarcastically, that you can't help but love it. The Jet Jaguar song at the end that they decide to dub their own lyrics to it is fucking hilarious. I laugh my butt off every time I read those god-awful lyrics. It's just that great. Okay, I'm calm now. Let's move on to number 2.
Can you take us with you?
No, I don't really want to.
Why? Why?
Well, I'll tell you why. Because the years I spent here on the Satellite of Love were the best damn years of my life, and I wouldn't want you mugs to miss a minute of it.
Really?
Soul Taker was the very first episode of the very last season, and how much I love this one is not just because of how campy and stupid the Estevez movie is. Yeah, I said Estevez, not Sheen. Martin Sheen's brother. I don't remember his first name. Something Estevez is a soul taker, and he's basically dressing like a discount version of The Crow and going around taking souls, and it's a very confusing movie, and it's definitely 90s cheese, this one, but it feels like an 80s movie. That's how bad this one is. I don't know, it's just, it's awful. But what's memorable about this one so much to me is we get cameos from other characters. We get TV's Frank back again during the segments, and my personal favorite, Joel and Mike meeting on set. I absolutely love this, and it is one of the MST3K's biggest history things. I've always wanted these two to meet on set, shake hands, talk to each other, especially when I was a kid, and the fact that Mike took over the whole role. I wanted that meeting so badly between these two. I always wanted to know if they would be friends or whatever, and I like how they handle it. The ship is basically breaking down, and Joel comes in to fix the ship, and they have a very decent reunion, and him and Mike says, well, if you're heading back to Earth, can't you take us with? And Joel just decides to be a douchebag and is like, no, I'm not going back. I can't, because being here made me the man I am today. He basically lies to basically say, I do not want these guys with me. They would just get on my nerves. So, yeah, he abandons them. But now to get back to the movie. The segments do save it, but the movie is just trash. Horrible, awful trash. There's Led Zeppelin jokes. There's all sorts of freaking awful, horrible jokes. 90s jokes, 80s jokes, you name it. Punk rock jokes. I love every second of this. They definitely go into how the story is just so contrived and all over the place. It's a definite watch, and it is worthy of the number 2 spot here. Of course, to me, the segments, the ship segments, and etc. save the movie, because it's nice to have that semi-reunion of Joel and Mike actually meeting, and Joel being reunited with the robots, Pearl being reunited with TV's Frank. I love those few minutes. And I like the really big meta joke of Joel saying, hey, Crow, why does your voice sound different? We know why, us fans. We know why. But those meta jokes always are a big piece to me. Now, this is number 2. What can number 1 be? And number 1's pretty obvious.
He's right, Mike. I don't want to have to see you in a toga.
I don't know. Okay, what do you want me to do?
Number 1 is Space Mutiny. Yeah, how could anyone be surprised on this one? Of course, number 1 is a Mike episode, and it is Mike's big, shining achievement episode of freaking Space Mutiny. One of the dumbest freaking movies ever made in history. The fact that there is a character that dies off screen or on screen, and then you see her later as one of the ship's crew. I mean, the budget in this is so bad, but I think what makes this really memorable is some of the joke nicknames that they do, like with the main character. Big McHuge Large always makes me laugh my ass off. I don't know why. And these jokes are used still today, like by Nostalgia Critic in some of his videos. Or one of my favorites is when the girl is dancing in the dance scene, and, you know, one of the characters has to say, "Did you like my butt?" Oh God, the Santa Claus jokes in here too always get me to laugh my ass off. I don't know why. I'm a sucker for those cheesy ass Santa Claus jokes. Maybe I'm just really immature. Maybe I'm just kind of low IQ. I probably am. But damn, this is funny. It's one of the funniest freaking episodes of the whole show. It is the funniest episode of the show. It has the best writing, the best timing, the jokes are on par, and I would show this to anyone who has never seen an episode of MST3K before, just so they could get their feel on it. This one has some of the best moments, and the segments are also fun too. I always love the chemistry between Pearl and Mike and the others, Bobo, Brain Guy. I love all those. The host segments are perfect. The robots jokes are perfect. I don't know. This is just MST3K at its perfection. Its most huge perfection to me. It is big, McHuge large on how funny it is. And I've got to say, I love about every second of this freaking episode. It is that good. Oh man, I could go on and on about how much I love this one, but I think the internet has already done that for me. I mean, even to date, Nostalgia Critic, AVGN, freaking Spoonie even references this fucking episode. And I've got to say, it is definitely worthy of its infamy. Now, I have said Mano Sans of Fate is overrated, but so is this one. But this one definitely is worthy of being overrated. The jokes, the timing, the history, the characters, the chemistry, everything about this one is a perfect MST3K episode, and it is worthy of the #1 spot. Anyhow, that about does it for this list. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. I had a lot of fun making this one. I have been on an MST3K binge for the past 2 months. It's been insane. But yeah, this one is just easily my favorite episode, and it is basically the definition of MST3K to me. Anyhow, I hope you guys enjoyed. What's your favorite episode of MST3K? Did I miss any of your favorites? Tell me in the comments, and tell me how bad of taste I have also, if you didn't like any of the episodes that I put. Anyhow, that about does it. If you have any other suggestions for another list, tell me in the comments, and always remember, I'm listening.
This is Corey Feldman. Welcome to my studio here in Los Angeles, California, and I just wanted to pop in to say congratulations to Tim. Mr. Tim, I hope everybody's enjoying your videos. He's got some great content, and if you're enjoying his content, make sure you click on that little button right there that says subscribe. Why? Because everything on his channel is Bossa Nova. That's right. Congratulations on your channel, Mr. Tim. I'll be following you, and I know everybody else will too.